Alrighty, so our high performance nutrition workshop, this is going to be geared mainly towards athletes, but of course, a lot of these principles will apply to just general nutrition. At the end of the day, athletes are still humans, and the goal is to be healthy. If you're healthy, that's going to be step one of feeling good and performing better. So, nutrition matters. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. But I like to think of it as the fuel for your fire. Where people say, nutrition's half the battle. I don't like to say that because it doesn't give it a fair representation. It's just going to boost or decrease all of your performance and the work that you're doing. So it is the fuel that you put in. And I want to go over the right food, the right amount, and at the right time. All of it will have a direct impact, meaning the food you eat today will change your performance later in the day. Could change the way you feel, which will have a change on all of those. And the goal today, if you can just change one thing and get one benefit from that change, that is amazing. Stack that up over and over again. That's our main goal with nutrition. So it's a guess and check. Definitely not all or nothing. And it's a lifelong skill that you'll use forever. So learning these things as an athlete can help you because even when you're done playing, you'll still be eating. And knowing these principles will guide you. So I say guess and check because I'm a huge proponent of you need to try things and see how it works for your body. It's not going to ruin your progress if you go off and try something new. And even if you do go off and it wasn't the right thing, that's fine. Being perfect all the time isn't the only way to be successful with it. So I want you to try new things, small changes at a time, and you guess and you check. After you have some consistency, eating the same few things, say before practice or before training, you can ask yourself, did this meal give me energy for performance? Did it keep me full? Did it help me feel good? And am I eating in alignment with my goals? If you're doing all those things and there's check marks for all of those, then great. You're in the right place. And if those things are all going well and you want to make them better, make a small change. See how you feel and go from there. Small changes stack up very big. Nutrition being lifelong, it is a marathon more than anything. So calories. Your body runs on calories, and as an athlete, you're going to be burning more, and you need more fuel for your training, recovery, and growth. So calories are just the main unit of energy. It's the total energy that you take in or the total energy that a food has. And if you're an athlete, you're going to be burning more from sports, training, and then just growing in daily life. Whether you're going through puberty or hitting a growth spurt, you're going to be burning more calories throughout that. So you see when kids are growing, they can eat everything because their body's burning more calories. They want more fuel. And if you're not having enough, well, you're going to be sacrificing those gains. So, you know, main thing for a lot of athletes is to gain size and strength, but we have to increase our total calorie intake. I want to just go through the different macronutrients to give you a background. I don't want to make this too much of a boring science textbook, but just to give you a basis of these macronutrients. Protein is the building block of muscle. It'll help your body repair, recover, and grow after training. And a good guideline is just 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 120 pounds over the course of the full day, try to get 120 grams of protein. And if you do that, that's plenty. Getting more isn't really going to help you, but hitting that baseline is very, very important. So with this, protein is a macro that you should try to have throughout the day. It's going to have good regulation and keep you feeling good. Overeating protein, so if we just load it all into one meal, it can have your stomach feeling a little off. So try to eat it throughout the day at every meal and snacks. Your plates should be based around protein. So the protein source first, how much you're having it based on the day and based on the goal of getting the grams per body weight, and then building your meals around that. The best sources for this are meat, eggs, fish, dairy, tofu, protein supplements. Some of these things, like some of the meats, some of the dairy are going to be, some are going to be fattier than others. And I'm going to speak about how the different sources are going to be different for your goals. And protein is going to regulate your hunger, keep you feeling full. And it's going to be important if you're looking to maybe lose weight or maintain weight, because that's going to help you keep that feeling. Just go a little more in depth. These are some of the leaner sources. I'm definitely not against, let's say whole milk, which also has a lot of fat in it. Again, if your calorie intake can handle that, then please go for it. It's nothing inherently wrong about a fattier, high protein source. So carbs, this is your primary fuel source. When you need speed, power, strength, your body's going to use those carbs that you have on reserve. So if you got calories to play with, meaning that you have an allotment that allows you to have more calories, please increase your carb intake. It's going to help you have more energy. It's going to have more of a reserve of fuel for your speed, power, and strength. Best sources we like to see are rice, potatoes, pasta, bread, cereal. Fruit is, generally a healthy food, but it's not going to have that many carbs for the amount that you have to eat. So again, based on your goals, how many calories can you take in? And I will cover that more later in this. Sugary carbs provide quick energy but burn out fast. So if you take something like pasta, pasta is going to be less sugary than, let's say, honey. Honey is going to be almost pure sugar. So if you have honey, you'll have that in your system and your body will to use that immediately. So if you have honey closer to a workout, it can be great, but loading up on honey 8 hours before a workout might not be as good of a source as maybe a slower digesting carb. And if you're, again, just like calories, if you're using that fuel and you're using speed, power, strength, you're doing hard training and using your carbs, you're going to need to restore those throughout the day. So steady supply is worth it. Here are the sources. We can always take a pic or a screenshot. I put the asterisk next to fruit and vegetables. I touched on it before. Fruit and vegetables are mainly carbohydrates, technically. But if you're looking for a good carb source, these might not be your best options just because the amount you have to eat compared to, let's say, rice or pasta or potatoes or oats, you can eat a bowl of those and get a decent amount of carbohydrates, and you can eat a bowl of fruit and it might not give you that many grams of carbs with total calories. So you might not get that many, you might not get that much energy from that bowl of fruit or that bowl of vegetables, even though you're eating straight carbs. The density is just not there. So again, find what aligns with your goals. If you're looking to lose weight and you're looking for a carb source, fruits, vegetables can be your option. If you're looking to gain weight and you're looking for a carb source, have fruit, but don't let it fill you up too much where you're sacrificing that for rice or pasta or potatoes. So fats, these are your longer term fuel. And they also regulate a lot of hormone function, joint health, and just overall clarity and function. So it's good to have these in your system as well. Again, we're looking for balance always, always. Another good thing about fats is that they're just more calorie dense. So kind of opposite of the fruit and vegetable example. If you have a bowl of oil, it's going to be extremely calorie dense, and you don't need to have a lot of it. And a better example would probably be like a peanut butter spread. Peanut butter or any nut butter or nuts, they're mainly fats. So you have to eat a little bit of them to get a lot of calories. While fruits and vegetables, you have to eat a lot of them to only have a little amount of calories. So these can be a big thing and can be amazing if you want your total calories to increase. So, the example would be eat more peanut butter and jellies if you're looking to gain weight. If you're looking to lose weight, replace that with fruit. So you're eating way less, but you're gaining more. And then here are the fat sources. Again, things like cheese, whole milk, they're going to have protein and fat. Can depend on the different types you get, but we'll get into looking at the labels and seeing if the source is good for your goals. And hydration. So, of course, not a macronutrient, but hydration is important. And especially some sports and kids are sweating a ton, it really needs to be replenished. So the baseline throughout the day, 2/3 body weight in ounces of water, plus 16 ounces per hour of training. And you could definitely add electrolytes like salt or salting your food to help retain that water and fully hydrate your body. But I think just starting with 2/3 body weight. So let's say you're 150 pounds, you need at least 100 ounces of water throughout the day. Plus, you have a 2-hour practice, have another liter or 32 ounces of water. And little tip, if you try to cram it all into one period of time, like I used to chug bottles of water just to get my total water intake up, you will have to go to the bathroom. So just keep that in mind. If you're getting it all right in before practice, probably not a great idea. Okay, so scheduling. Now we're going to get into timing. When should you eat these different foods? I think this is a good summary and something that you could always use. If you have plenty of time, 4+ hours before, maybe you can go closer, not too strict of a line there. Let's have a full meal. Proteins, carbs, fats, some veggies. If you're a little closer, like 2 hours or even closer than that, you want easy to digest food, so a snack with carbs. And then you also want the protein, because remember, protein is going to help you feel full. So something that's going to feel good for you, feel good in your stomach, going to mainly be carbs and some protein. And then when you're close to the game and you don't have to worry about feeling full for a very far amount of time, quick digesting carbs, maybe some honey on bread or something quick and easy like that, plus hydration. Make sure you're staying hydrated around the time you're going to be sweating. And then during the game, depending on the sport, if it's a very long game and you have time and you can digest something and eat something, maybe some quick carbs like just some honey or again the honey on bread. But mainly, of course, water and then sports drinks with electrolytes, even just water with some salt and lemon in there. And then post game, try to eat, even if your stomach doesn't feel right, doesn't feel great. We need to get a meal in. We need to get some carbs, some protein. This is going to be essential for recovery. So we need to get food in. And I also find this is important if you're at a tournament or something all day, where let's say you have games at a wrestling match, could be another one where you have matches at 10, 2 p.m., 5 p.m. Well, you don't know what to eat. You don't want to feel bad for when you're competing, but you're going to need to eat throughout the day, replenish, recover, and also prep for when you're going later. So try to get some food in immediately. And or this can happen if you have a late night game where you don't want to eat too much, you're going to go right to bed, your stomach doesn't really feel right, you just competed. Still try to get some food in because again, your calories, your protein, your carbs, even some fats, they're going to have an impact on your recovery and your growth. Try to get that food in. So here are just some examples. I won't go through all of this. So you can take screenshots. We're going for Greek yogurt, has a lot of protein, some fruit and toast. Maybe if you want to put a spread on the toast, protein, carbs, and fats. Lunch, the turkey sandwich would cover the protein. You could have some extra carbs with the pretzels, and in the water, make sure you're hydrating. Pre-game, pre-training, protein with a protein bar, applesauce, and easy to digest carb, hydration, and then post-game, I always think it's worth it to and realistic to get a big dinner in. I always found that a hard day of training and a long day at school, I wanted to eat a lot of dinner. My mom cooked good food. I think it's just realistic for a lot of people to eat a lot at night. Of course, try not to too close to bed, but if you have to, it's worth it. It's worth it to get the calories. It's worth it for the recovery. As long as you can fall asleep, again, we have to weigh out what's going to be best in the long run and overall what will be best. So, ground beef, potatoes, veggies, chocolate milk, it's protein, carbs, and fats. But again, this can be a higher calorie meal. If you're, especially if you didn't get them in during the day, you didn't want your stomach to feel off during the game or training. Okay, now you have plenty of time till you go again. Eat a lot of food. And then a day without training. Of course, there's going to be days without training. It's just going to be a lot of balanced meals. Maybe the snack you don't need to have as big of a meal. It can just be something quick with some protein and carbs. But the meals should be balanced other than that. We don't need to get too crazy with nutrient timing and to have balanced meals that keep us feeling good. So each meal, breakfast, this is a very important one for both goals, gaining weight, losing weight, maintaining. It's going to set the tone for your energy, recovery, and performance. Always needs to be high in protein, regardless of your goal. Protein starting here, you can it's going to regulate how full you feel throughout the day. It's also just a good way to get it in before the day starts. If you hit a fourth to a third of your protein goals before you even leave your house in the morning, you're set up for success. And then to gain weight, always the thing I recommend is a big breakfast for athletes that want to gain weight. It doesn't need to be a ton of food. This can be a good time to have a high fat source. So butter, peanut butter, chocolate milk, using something that's more calorie dense with the fats, that will be awesome in the morning because you don't even have to eat a ton of food. And if you don't feel like eating, well, you could prep it ahead of time, maybe with like a PB&J in the fridge. And it's not a ton of food. It won't be that much of an issue on your stomach. But now you have all day to get hungry again. Because if you eat as soon as you wake up and then you have lunch, you might feel just as hungry at lunch regardless. So now you just get the extra calories and protein from that breakfast. And it is always a struggle to oh, go back to get up and get that food in, but try to prep it ahead of time. And at some point, it's just a reality that you have to get up a little bit earlier and get the food in if your goals are, worth it to get up a little earlier. So lunch is another one like breakfast where it can be tough. As basic as possible for lunch, especially if you're bringing it somewhere. Being basic, covering your protein goals. Again, turkey cheese sandwich, pretzels, piece of fruit, easy, covers the groups. Chicken and rice bowl, side of fruit, easy. We're looking for basic, simple, high protein. Another one that you're going to have to prep and make it easy for yourself so you can consistently hit this reliable source. Having just a few options that you can always go to, it's going to be extremely important. And then here's some snack ideas. Again, we're looking for protein and carbs that are easy to eat. And then dinner. Like I was alluding to before, I think this is the best time to refuel recovery and hit your calorie goal. So if you're looking to add weight and you have your calorie goal, well, the food can kind of sit in your stomach because you don't have to worry about going to perform or train later in the day or right after you eat the meal. You can relax, you can let the food digest, and you can eat a lot of food. It's also realistic when someone, this is generally the meal that's easiest to be cooked for. So if an athlete can go home, their parents cooked. Well, a way to get more calories and protein and refueling in can just be to add a lot of carbs, go for a second plate, things like that. It seems the most realistic. So I think this could be the largest meal of the day, and we're not looking for a quick snack here. The goal is to have a full balanced meal. Here are some options again: protein, carbs, and a veggie or fruit. We went over the science, what you should eat, when you should eat it, and then of course, how much should you eat? And this is the toughest one to just give a general guide to because everyone's going to respond differently. But it's a guess and check approach. So there's not going to be one answer for everyone. People will respond differently to certain foods. There will be allergies. People will have just discomfort with eating certain foods. To find what works for you, it's going to take some guessing and checking here. At the end of the day, it's a calorie balance. So if you're looking to gain weight, well, we're going to have to increase the calories in some way. If you're looking to lose weight, we're going to have to decrease the calories in some way. So just start with consistency, track it based on the results, adjust. Easier said than done. But the first thing with this is just looking what we're currently doing. If you currently eat, you're going to eat the same kinds of things and same amount usually over a week to week or month to month basis. So get a good idea of this. If it's if your goals are to gain weight, well, we have to add some food. How can that be done? Again, maybe in the morning with breakfast, but let's just see where we're at. Do the same thing you're doing currently, and then add or take away. Just start there. So if you're eating for muscle and size gain, bigger, stronger, powerful, we need to eat more. You need to treat eating like training because generally when people want to gain weight with eating, it's it's not intuitive. It doesn't happen automatically and it has to be purposefully done. It has to be very intentional with I'm going to add this into my diet. I'm going to make sure I have it 7 days a week and might not be perfect, but the goal is still there. Because if we go 4 weeks and you added 20 PB&Js and a glass of milk, that's amazing. That's already a phenomenal start. And then again, see where you're at. Did I gain weight? Am I feeling good? Or is my performance aligned with that? If everything's in the right direction, awesome. Keep going. Well, I still want to gain more weight. Okay. Can we add in a snack maybe between lunch and dinner? Maybe some trail mix, maybe another sandwich, maybe a protein shake. Try it out, add it in. If everything is moving the right direction, great. Your body can handle the calories and it's happy to use more energy. You're adding calories and still not gaining too much weight. Awesome. Your body is using that fuel and its performance is probably increasing. So carbs are also going to be another good source here. We can add carbs, just adding more fuel. So some of the goals here, if you could drink calories, maybe in a smoothie or a shake, adding fats to meals, so peanut butter or more olive oil, things like that they're just calorie dense, meaning you don't have to eat too much to get a lot of calories. And then eating for fat loss without losing strength, you're going to need to eat technically slightly less calories. Just needs to happen to burn more than you currently are. Protein is going to stay the same regardless. We're still going to look at the 1 gram per pound of body weight. And to go back to this one, Generally, if you're getting 1 gram per pound of body weight, you don't need to eat more protein to gain muscle and size. Let's look to the carbs and the fats for that. So we're still keeping the protein the same, trying to lose fat. Carbs are probably going to be your lever to pull. So a diet or a meal that I'm maintaining my weight in, let's say I have half the plate's protein, half the plate is a carb like rice or a pasta. The goal would just be to reduce the carbs, maybe replace them with fruit or vegetables, something that's less calorie dense. And that way, you're eating the same amount of total food, but the calories of that meal are lower. And that could be a way where you feel the same. You're eating the same amount of food. You might be even fuller with more fiber in the diet, but the calories are less. So you can start to have fat loss or weight loss. And here, focus on whole foods, fruits, veggies, and higher fiber to stay fuller longer. So the goal would be to eat the same amount, but just have foods that are less calorie dense. And the thing with this and these two slides is they're interchangeable in the sense of like what lever you're looking to pull, because I can go through every single one and just do the opposite. Slight calorie, we want a slight calorie surplus. Protein is going to stay the same. So other than that, carbs can be increased, of course, still included for performance, but we can increase instead of reduce. Hydration will stay the same. Food quality will still matter, but these swap higher calorie snacks for high protein, low calorie options. If you're looking to gain size and strength, we'll swap the bag of baby carrots for something that's higher calorie. With focus on whole foods, fruits, veggies, higher fiber, you still want that in your diet, but you don't want to get in the way of eating calories. So if you fill up on fruits and vegetables before you get to your meat and rice and higher fat meals, you're going to be full, and then you're back to square one where you're trying to gain and eat more, but you're already full. Strength training will be consistent with both. With the just going back to this again, you're eating for weight loss, fat loss. Well, away, let's try to avoid drinking calories. They're not going to fill you up as much. If you're looking to gain size, we can drink calories because they won't fill you up as much. Again, just different levers to play with. The overall basis is going to be the same. We're looking for balanced meals. Some levers to pull are those. And this is all it comes down to. When you know and understand the principles, it's still guess and check. Regardless of how long and how much you're doing, you know what to look for, but you're guessing, you're checking, and you're learning along the way. So let's just track and journal what you're currently eating and how much you're currently eating. See the results of your body, how they align with your goals, the results of your performance, and just measure that. Are you moving in the right direction? Are you going the right way? And then from there, we can eat less or more or some different foods based on those results. And we're looking for one small change. We're looking to gain weight. Did we gain weight? Did I feel good while doing it? Did performance improve? Awesome. Those three things happened. Good. You got the green light to go again. If you now want to maintain your new weight, cool. Let's look to maintain. Let's track, journal, and see if we're maintaining. That's always going to be the process. Always, always, always. And then some things just to track. I know tracking could get confusing. So for the full container, this is how many servings are in the full container. The serving size, so this container would have 3 ounces times 5 servings. We're looking at 15 total ounces for this. The serving size is 3 ounces. So every 3 ounces, we're looking at 200 calories. The whole entire box or the whole entire item would have 1,000 calories. Again, calories, 5 servings, 1,000 calories. 5 grams of fat, 10 grams of carbs, 29 grams of protein. So if you ate this whole entire thing, you're looking close to 150 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, 25 grams of fat, total of 1,000 calories. Where this could be helpful is is with larger preps. So what I do when I prep my food on the weekend or prep my food anytime, I don't generally weigh my food. I'll just take the the full box or the full serving or the full package. So let's say I'm eating a chicken and I bought 3 pounds of chicken. Well, if I just disperse that upon 6 different containers, I know I had a half a pound of chicken for a meal. And then of course you can always look up on different websites or the package, how many calories, how many grams of protein are in chicken or whatever food item you have. And again, this will take time and it's just something to get better at. Once you get the hang of it, you'll understand it much more. And that is all I have today. So I hope I didn't ramble too much, but please, do we have any questions? Evan, do you have any questions? Anything I should have cleared up more?
Yeah, I want to just say one thing about the hydration and how, we all understand how important it is, but a lot of people say, well, I can't drink more water because then I'm going to go to the bathroom all the time. And like, as you mentioned, if you drink a ton of water, like way more than you're used to, you're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot. But we have to think like the body needs that. So after a little bit, once your body's acclimated to actually having sufficient water, it's not going to feel that way. It's going to feel pretty normal. So I guess that kind of carries over to any new nutritional habit that you have. When you first start, it's not going to be normal. It's going to feel weird. But if you know that it's right, do it until it becomes normal, right? And especially because I have that conversation a lot about hydration, and I just don't think you can overstate the importance of that.
Yeah, so another point to hit on with this is when it comes to gaining weight, this is generally the conversation when it comes to gaining weight. Doing it safely, doing it in a healthy way. What's the fine line of getting my total calories in? Mostly, the goal is going to be whole foods and the lists that I provided before. We can eat meat, dairy, fish, eggs, all the foods that make you that are generally healthy. Those are the options that I would like to see. Looking at balanced meals throughout the day, consistently over time. What if it is so difficult, you're eating so much, still having a tough time? You might want to look to some options that might be known as a little less healthy, like some ice cream at night, or again, like a peanut butter and jelly. Foods that are easy to eat, they're highly palatable, meaning like they taste very good. They can be a great option for you. And if you're feeling good while doing them, like I'm not recommending you have a ton of ice cream before you compete or go to a game. But if you have ice cream at night and it gets you an extra 500 calories and some protein in, go for it, please, because it's all just it's a full picture. Where if you're looking to gain weight, well, ice cream might not be super healthy. Sure, it might have like a high sugar or just the quality of it can be bad, but you could also argue that getting the extra calories in is healthy because it gives your body more fuel to recover. It might allow your muscles and bones and joints to recover better and feel good. So most of the time, eat the foods provided. But going off track a little bit to hit your protein and calorie goals can be a great option. If you're going to do that, try to look for a source that mass powder in shakes or drinks. So like just finish that thought. If you're going to go for unhealthy foods, still surround them with protein. So like a dairy option like ice cream, at least it has a lot of protein in it and you could find quality sources of it where there's not a lot of processed things in it. Another one would be like let's take a cheeseburger where you might think like greasy, high fat protein. At least it has a lot of protein. And if you can get quality sources that aren't very processed, might digest well and you might feel great doing it. So mass powder in shakes and drinks. I'd have to look at the individual one A lot of times they do have fillers and like are kind of like a last ditch effort to gain weight. I try to not recommend them and stay away from them just because again the quality of it is just not great usually. So if we can get it from real food, that would be my recommendation. Always can start with a little bit. If we went instead of a full serving of the mass powder in shakes or drinks, and we went with maybe a quarter of that plus some ice cream, I like that approach better. And take it from there. See if that helps. Because that would be a little safer of an option. Ev, do you have anything on the mass gainers?
Yeah, so I actually a while ago I worked at a GNC, and when I was bored, I would look at all of the supplements. And Mass Gainer is one of the ones that infuriated me the most because all it is a protein powder marked up, probably double the cost of the regular protein powder, but it's filled with oats. There's nothing super special about any of these Mass Gainer shakes. Now, what you're paying for there is the convenience, right? It does have a ton of calories. But again, all it is just extremely simple carbs with protein powder in it. So, do you get the convenience out of it? Sure. But you have to understand that there's nothing special about it. It's kind of just the calories there. So, like Eric said earlier, like I'd much rather you put ice cream and protein powder together in a shake because that's really all you're getting with those kinds of things. Um, Do they work? I'm sure they work. They absolutely do. Because at the end of the day, it's just calories in versus calories out. But there's nothing special or important about them. And a lot of the time, you're just getting marked up to put oats in protein powder, which you can just do on your own.
Yeah, and if the goal is convenience, maybe we can look to like just a higher fat source. So if you do a few servings of peanut butter on a bread that is, on an okay bread, and we pair that with a glass of whole milk, you're going to get a ton of calories, and that's pretty easy to eat. And there are other foods and meals like that. So if we can find stuff that's more whole food, that would always be the goal.
Peanut butter, banana, and some protein.
Hmm.
Nothing's going to beat that. Nothing. The mass gainer shakes aren't going to beat that at all. They just might beat it in the marketing department, which we have to be smart about.
Do we have any other questions?